The coldest temperature ever recorded in South Bend, 22 degrees below zero. When temperatures fall into the negative numbers, cold can turn from uncomfortable to dangerous in just minutes, especially when you factor in the wind chill. ABC 57 meteorologist Amber Twardy breaks down how the wind chill impacts how cold it feels.
Have you ever noticed that on windier days you feel a lot colder? Well, that's because of something that we call wind chills, or what you might have heard of as feels-like temperatures. Now, how do we get this number? That's from combining air temperature and wind speed and plugging it into a really big equation. Now, what that tells us is how it feels like outside, how cold it feels to us at least. Now, an easier way to break this down is this chart here. It can tell us how cold the wind chills would feel with air temperature and wind speed, but also how fast you could get frostbitten on any exposed skin. Now let's take a look back with this in mind at some of the wind chills that we saw during the holiday blizzard at the end of 2022. We saw wind chills that were down in the -20s and -30s, which meant that you could have gotten frostbitten in just 10 to 30 minutes. Very dangerous for us when we have cold temperatures like that. The coldest feels like temperatures, well, those were felt in Warsaw, down to about -38 degrees for those wind chills. Now, how does this work? What is the science behind this? Well, our bodies, we radiate heat. With that heat, it creates this nice invisible warm blanket around us to keep us warm in those cold temperatures. When there's no wind, that blanket is left undisturbed and we can stay warm in those cold temperatures. So if it's 20 degrees out, it feels like 20 degrees out. Now, if there's a good amount of wind out there, it mixes up that blanket around us, takes off that insulating layer and makes us feel a lot colder. That makes our bodies lose heat a lot faster too. So it can definitely make us feel very, very chilly. In times like these, when it's very cold, very windy, you're going to want to make sure that you bundle up to stay nice and warm.
It's time for the ABC 57 Winter Fashion Show. It's important to know how to dress for every type of weather, and our meteorologists are here to help style you. First up, Dave is showing us a chilly weather outfit. Start with long sleeves and pants, add a jacket and a pair of boots. Work it, Dave. All right, and next up to the stage, Amber's got this season's hottest look for a cold weather day. Start with the basics that Dave had, but add a warm coat, zip it up. Amber adds a pair of cute warm gloves. Now, to complete her look after we put the gloves on, we're gonna top it all off with a hat to keep your head warm. And don't forget, a waterproof pair of boots for rainy or snowy weather. Looking good, Amber. And finally, for the most frigid of weather, Macy is going to add a lot of layers. Start out with a sweater and a warm pair of snow pants or bibs. Wear warm waterproof boots. Next, you're going to put on that winter coat once again and make sure you don't just wear it, but you zip it all the way to the top too. Now, the look doesn't stop here. Macy is going to accessorize with a pair of waterproof gloves in case she touches any snow. Her fingers won't get wet. Now, she's going to add to this a pink hat to wear. Looking good. And to match, that's not all. She's going to put on a pink scarf as well. She is going to wrap this all around her face so that she doesn't get frostbite when she goes outdoors. This look goes best when you show the least amount of skin. Put your hands together for all of our meteorologist models today, and remember to steal their looks to stay safe and stay warm before you go outdoors in the cool, cold, or frigid weather throughout the winter season.
When it comes to winter, Lake Michigan and lake effect snow sets Michiana weather apart from winter weather in other parts of the country. Because of how lake effect snow works, you could wake up to snow outside your house in the morning, while your friend in another town could have sunshine. ABC 57 meteorologist Macy Tetrick and Amber Twardy break down the science of lake effect snow.
When we live this close to Lake Michigan, in the wintertime, we get a special weather phenomena called lake effect snow. Now, it can look really beautiful. I mean, just take a look at this video. As the snow comes down, it looks awesome, especially as it blankets the trees and it looks like a beautiful winter wonderland. But the numbers with lake effect snow can really add up very quickly. When we think back to November of 2022, here's some snow reports. 10, almost 20 inches in some areas, even over 20 inches of snow in South Bend. And this happened over the course of just a few days. So this really can add up. It might be fun for your snow day, but it is not safe for the roads when we get that much snow. Now, is it normal to see those amount of snow totals here in South Bend and in Michiana? Not necessarily. We actually came really close to setting a record in November of 2022. We missed it by just 0.1 of an inch of coming close that to a record. Now, what exactly is lake effect snow? Well, our meteorologist Amber Tuardi can explain.
Thank you, Macy. Well, let's break down lake effect snow step by step. First up, you need a warm body of water, and for us, that's Lake Michigan. It has to be warmer than the air that's around it. Next up, you need some chillier land, and that's here in Michiana. Now, what you would have is a cold air mass that moves over that body of water, picking up moisture while it moves over it and producing clouds. When those clouds get too filled up with moisture, they start to produce lake effect snow, and that's what gets dumped on us here in Michiana. Now, where does that snow go? Well, it's all determined by winds. It could be coming from one direction, and then you would be seeing plenty of snow for the day, might even get a snow day. But if the winds shift just a little bit, your friend in the next town over could be seeing that snow instead, and you'd still have to go to school for the day.
During severe weather, you've likely seen a warning map on ABC57 News or our First Warning Weather app. Depending on where you are, different weather alerts can be in effect at the same time, especially during winter. These warnings are based on where the heaviest snow is expected to fall. Recently, the National Weather Service of Northern Indiana changed some zones in Michiana, dividing some counties into smaller areas to help us be more accurate in forecasting where the worst of the weather will hit. ABC 57 meteorologist Dave Caulfield explains this new alert system and how it helps us forecast the impacts of lake effect snow where you live.
Lake effect snow is very difficult to forecast. Down the street from where it snows a foot or two could only be a few inches. It is that localized. So we talked to one of the experts on lake effect snow, meteorologist Lonnie Fisher, who's been forecasting lake effect snow for decades at the National Weather Service of Northern Indiana.
We did change a total of 4 counties in our area. We subdivided them, actually divided them in half. A lot of it had to do with lake effect snowfall. As we all know, there's several of the counties, Berrien, LaPorte, St. Joseph, Elkhart, Cass, and even down into Marshall and Kosciuszko, that just depending on how lake effect bands set up could mean the difference of, part of the county getting slammed by snow and other parts, not being impacted at all. And so it was decided to pick 4 of the most problematic counties that we felt and try and divide them up in some fashion based on what tends to happen in certain lake effect patterns. So Berrien County was one of them that was divided up into northern and southern Berrien County. And then we also divided LaPorte County into northern and southern. St. Joseph County was divided into western and eastern, with the eastern part encompassing, pretty much all of the South Bend, Mishawaka area. We did do Kosciuszko County. We divided along US 30, so we did northern and southern Kosciuszko County. The new zone breakout worked really well. We were happy to see it did.
When snow triggers a winter weather alert, usually those warnings are issued by county, so where you live. But lake effect snow doesn't really play ball with how we draw our maps. So Lonnie and the other folks at the National Weather Service made changes this year to how those snow alerts are issued for lake effect snow. And the 4 most troublesome counties are now split up in such a way. Northern and southern LaPorte County, northern and southern Berrien County in Michigan, western and eastern St. Joseph County in Indiana, and northern Kosciuszko and southern Kosciuszko County. The biggest change is with St. Joseph County in Indiana, because eastern St. Joseph County now includes all of South Bend, and western St. Joseph County, spots to the west that typically will get a lot of lake effect snow if we have a wind off of the lake. Northern and southern Kosciuszko County, that's being separated by US 30. This is a big deal because now you don't have to worry about your entire county getting shaded in a warning if really lake effect snow is not affecting you, because it can be so localized. So if you have relatives maybe in western St. Joseph County and you're in South Bend, if it's snowing only in western St. Joseph County, you'll be unaffected by any of these warnings.